Alright, guys, welcome to Module 12, where we will be discussing choosing a trustworthy conveyancer, where this will protect our time, our money, and our peace of mind. So, what a conveyancer does: a conveyancer is a licensed attorney who handles the legal process of your property, and that will be the transfer process. They are going to be responsible for lodging documents with the deeds office to ensure compliance and that all certificates are in place and managing the financial aspects of the transaction. Although buyers typically pays for the conveyancer's fee, you as the seller will have the right to choose who the conveyancer is. And that choice matters much more than what you think. Because the right conveyancer can help you complete the sale within 6 weeks, and the wrong one can drag the process out for 6 months or even cause the sale to fall through entirely. So, as I've mentioned, you have a say even if you are not paying. This is your home, okay? It's your financial future. And it's your name that's on the documents being signed and transferred. Just because the buyer is covering the legal fees doesn't mean that they should choose someone who is unresponsive, careless, and underqualified. When I mention underqualified, it could be that they are choosing their lawyer who isn't a conveyancer, who will outsource a conveyancer. So now it's like double the fees. So you want to try and go to a firm that has a conveyancer under their name. Because a poor conveyancer is likely to delay your sale, and that's going to be through inaction and avoidable errors. They miss key deadlines, or they possibly lose documents or forget to ask for certain documents. They cause the deeds office to create rejections through paperwork mistakes, and then that will leave you constantly following up with no clarity or communication because it's taking forever and you don't know what's happening. Even straightforward sales without special clauses can be delayed by missing the rates clearance time, bond cancellation delays, and poor communications with the bank and the buyer, because this is what the conveyancer needs to be, the middleman between the two. So, this is why your choice matters. Treat this like hiring someone for a critical job because it is. Right. So, how to be fair and professional? Buyers may prefer a conveyancer that they've used before. It's okay. But don't be passive about just choosing what they want because they've dealt with this before. Here's how you're going to handle something like that. Ask for the firm's name and the conveyancer details. You're going to research them online. Look for Google reviews, look for Hello Peter reviews, even search community groups if you can. If you are unsure, suggest a joint call or a meeting with your preferred backup conveyancer that you've chosen. Use confident and calm language in speaking to your buyer about this. What you can say is, I had a great experience with so and so and so. Would you be open to considering them before we decide? Compromise is impossible, but ensure that your involvement is there because it's essential. Okay, so when you are looking for a conveyancer, what are you looking for? Bigger is always better, in my opinion. Large, well established law firms usually have full support teams. They have the conveyancer, they have assistants, and they have compliance officers. If you're going to go for a smaller firm, it could be they only have one secretary, and if that secretary is off sick, you have to wait for that secretary to come back and finish the work. In bigger firms, somebody else can take over the work. Bigger firms like to provide weekly updates by default because it's within their process. With bigger firms, you have an option to escalate if communication does break down. If there's something happening that you don't like and you are tired of possibly speaking to this one person, you can escalate to a manager above them. Smaller firms can be just as effective. It's not that I'm downing smaller firms, especially if they're local and experienced with private sales. But if you're going to choose a smaller firm, what you need to look out for is responsiveness. How quick do they respond to your inquiries? Is there clear communication? Are they explaining it so that you can understand? Is there reasonable workload? You don't want them to be overloaded where they become to a point where they get unreachable because the work is becoming too much and you are becoming overwhelmed, or they become overwhelmed. If they are small, and this is now obviously a private sale, are they familiar with private sales? Are they familiar with FISBO? So try and find the balance between the two, whether you're going to choose big or small. Efficiency, experience, and service is what you are going to be looking for. So, here are some questions you should ask when you are looking for a conveyancer. So, these questions will help you determine if the conveyancer is the right fit for your FISBO sale. The first question will be, what are your total fees and when are they payable? You want a conveyancer that is transparent with the fees, not come for a consultation first and we'll see how it goes, we'll send you a bill after. Those are red flags. You want someone that is upfront with these services. What is your average transfer time for private sales? Ask them what is your, if they can give you an answer that is within the course that I'm giving you, because I will have a timeline as well, and they tell you it depends, or they ask more questions so they can give you a proper guidance, that's a green flag to follow. Do you send regular updates or only when asked? I'm sure they will answer, we send regular updates, but that's also where you're going to follow your reviews to say, look, Patanalo Peter, this is the review, what happened there? Can you give me feedback? Who can I contact if this process falls behind? Are you the, or like the secretary, are you the only person they can speak to? Or are there backup people that I can call if this process does fall behind? And have they done private sales before? Are they willing to assist people that are private sellers? Because some conveyancers actually don't prefer this because they want the real estate agent to do everything for them. Because then they can have the agent fall back on any backups or so where they don't take full responsibility, the agent needs to stand in for them. Look, they are in charge, but I mean with following up with documents. So if your buyer needs to sign something, usually they'll tell the real estate agent, look, I need this to be signed, because the real estate agent is the middleman. They will then have to contact the buyer directly. Have they done this before? So these are the level of questions that you need to ask them to reveal their professionalism or possibly lack of it. So what are we trying to avoid? We are allowing the buyer to give us options, but we don't want them to push for something cheap and quick. That's not the attorneys that we want to follow or we want to use. We want to avoid assuming that your involvement ends once the offer to purchase has been signed. Stay in the loop with this process. We want to avoid choosing someone who is solely a family member or a friend as well. We want to go for professionalism. If you know that your family member or this buyer's family member has good reviews, then it's fine. But follow up, see how the work has been done. And we want to avoid failing to ask the right questions up front. Don't come with these questions to the conveyor answer after the fact. Do your research even before you list your property. Do research about conveyances around you up front as well and ask these questions. Have them involved from the beginning of when you list your property. This is what I want to do. I'm doing a private sale. This is what I'm following. So they can give you advice from there on already. Know your rights as a seller. Even though, like I said, the buyer pays for the fees, you retain rights. You can suggest the conveyancer. You can request weekly updates. You can raise concerns if it slows the process down. And you are fully entitled to protect your interests and your timeline. You are still in control. So, remember, we've done all the hard work. We've cleaned, we've listed, we've priced, we negotiated our way through the sale to get to this point. Don't lose your momentum by choosing a conveyancer that's going to slow your roll down. The right conveyancer will keep that momentum. They will keep ensuring that this process is moving to protect both parties, and they will communicate clearly from start to finish. Ask the right questions and trust your instincts. Remember, you are not just selling the home, you are choosing a deal on your terms.